How would you feel if I told you that at this very moment, the entirety of society's medical resources are being poured into creating something that will annihilate humanity as we know it? You'd probably feel a surge of emotions: fear, excitement, confusion, and possibly arousal. Sorry to burst your bubble, but it is happening at this very moment, due to the use of antibiotics on bacteria. Bacteria can be found everywhere, both inside and outside of the body. Some even help us survive. Others, however, invade the body and can lead to a quick and painful death. Before the development of modern antibiotics and vaccines, the death tolls of a common cold would amount to millions. Antibiotics eliminate a majority of harmful bacteria and leave the remnants for the body to deal with. Antibiotics work in three main ways. They either slow the metabolism and thus the growth of the bacteria, others attack DNA replication centers, inhibiting further replication, and lastly, they can destroy the external layer, making entrails leak out. Unfortunately, this is where the miraculous biological act of evolution comes into play. A lucky few bacteria survive by evolving to protect themselves. The bacteria can either change the molecule so it becomes harmless, or create pumps which expel the antibiotic before it effectively shuts down the bacteria. As was previously stated, the few remaining can be dealt with by the immune system. However, if the bacteria escape, this can become quite problematic, as bacteria can spread their immunity. This can be accomplished through the use of DNA transmission. There are primarily two categories of DNA in bacteria: plasmids and the chromosome. Plasmids are free-floating circles of DNA independent from the chromosome, which can replicate independently. Plasmids are exchanged through the conjugation or transfer of DNA from one cell to another, through cell-to-cell contact. Alternatively, previously killed bacteria can be used to harvest DNA from in a process known as transformation, during which bacteria are capable of taking up DNA directly from their environment and incorporating it into their genomes. Through this process, immunity to a certain antibiotic can become present throughout a population. This is a very bad thing, as this transfer of DNA is not limited within a species, meaning various types of bacteria can gain immunity once a single species does. Antibiotics should be the last attempt at curing an ailment, not something taken due to a slight inconvenience of a headache or sore throat. If all this unnecessary use of antibiotics wasn't already bad enough, they are used to an even greater extent in meat production industries. Billions of animals are forced to live in horrible, unsanitary, cramped conditions, leading to the rapid development of disgusting diseases. And to counteract this, what do? Use even more antibiotics so that the meat introduced into the general population won't be disease-ridden, but it comes at a cost. You're creating a ridiculously large amount of bacteria that will be resistant to antibiotics. However, there is one last resort: rarely used antibiotics such as colistin. Unfortunately, the only difference between these regular antibiotics and last resort antibiotics is that they are used less. Colistin was rather outdated and used less than most antibiotics due to its detrimental impacts on the liver. In the meat industry, however, colistin was fed to millions of animals over a time span of many years. As a result of this, it was not long before a strain of bacteria immune to colistin was discovered. This was frightening news, as just like that, a last resort had become useless. If something does not change soon, all of humanity is doomed to an ill-fated end.